Good morning. Yeah. So this talk this morning is about photography. And should I get a little closer? Okay. And so I encourage anyone who feels inclined at all to go ahead and smile. And yes, even with our masks, haven't we learned to see the smile in people's eyes? So today's talk is not going to be about the details or the nuts and bolts of photography, although I do think that sounds very interesting for a different type of talk. Today is going to be about talking about photography as a way to see better the gifts of life. So what I'd like to do is start out by playing a game. Why not? I felt in a fun mood. So what I'm going to ask us to do is, when I let you know, you don't have to jump ahead too far here, but when I say we're ready, then I'm going to ask you to hold up your imaginary camera, and also for those of you on Facebook or Zoom. And if that's just too much for you, then just go ahead and you can make a little picture just using your mind. And so once you take that photograph, then just take a moment to silently also bless what you just took a photograph of, the thing that captured your attention, the thing that made you pause for this minute. So it might be a picture of your new shoes. I saw some great shoes in here. I love shoes. It might be the art on the wall, might be each other, a friend that you're here with, your view from the window at home, whatever you think would be fine. So I'm going to start out by doing the photograph first. And so here I go. I'm going to use a wide-angle lens. Okay. And now if you'd like to go ahead, spend a minute, take a picture of something. Oh, I love it. I love it. Okay. And now, kind of all at once, are we done with our pictures? Some of us are doing a lot of pictures. Okay. So what did you take a picture of? So now, all at once, just be loud, just shout out. Yeah. Oh man, I heard all kinds of things, from pictures of the guitar to the selfie. That's wonderful. So yeah, the selfie was pretty creative. So now I'd like to also ask a favor, kind of in advance. I'm going to jump ahead to the end of my talk and ask a favor for that. At the end of today's talk, I was hoping maybe we could change the format of what we usually do. Normally, we would give some feedback to the speaker about, how my talk went or whatever. But today, what I'd like to do is ask you, and I'm asking you now because I'll give you some time to think about it, to just put together a thought about a photograph in your life, either one that you own, one that you took, one that you've seen, a photograph that was very memorable. And at the end of today's talk, if you just want to share what that photo might be in just a couple sentences, we'll do as many as time allows. And that could be, your loved one, a family portrait, a nature photograph, a cityscape, photo of your car, your new kitten, or your hobby, or your new Jeep. Just start thinking about a photo that your mind has archived that was meaningful to you. So many people are taking photos every day. I mean, try to even imagine how many photos we see every day. So why is something this common important to me? Why do I hope it's important to you? Well, maybe the answer is that this common practice of taking photographs actually helps connect us with others. It also helps connect us with the flora and the fauna on the path that we're taking. Maybe it helps us see the design presence when we take a moment to pause and we're lucky enough to get that picture of the heron lifting off into flight. Or when you see what my family calls the fingers of God. That's those light beams that come down from the cloud and touch the earth. And when you see that, when you can be lucky enough to get a photo of that. Or how about so beautifully taking the photo of one that you love and then falling even more in love while you look at that photo. So, hey, maybe there is something spiritual in photography, you think? So in our Friday Zoom hour, I asked everyone what they thought about me. Okay, I was an educator giving a pop quiz during my talk. And the incredibly funny and witty Al Carter said that he thought that would be wonderful. So I actually liked his answer. I'm going to go ahead and give a quiz, but some people are getting nervous, but don't worry. The quiz is just for your benefit. I will not grade your answers. You won't even be speaking your answers out loud. You don't have to share your answers unless you feel so inclined. I'm simply going to go ahead and ask you some guided questions. And what I'm hoping is that that's actually going to be the groundwork for today's talk. So, I mean, how clever am I that I'm going to have all of you helping to put my talk together? And my hope is that these questions are going to access your memory banks. And we will have, my idea is that we will each have different answers this morning. Yeah, we will have different answers. So I do junk journaling, that's a whole nother talk, but all of these questions are questions that I've asked myself and then junk journaled about. So it was easy for me to think of these questions because I just had to open my journal. And I'll start with number 1. And I'll go through the questions quickly. Number 1, can you think of a photograph that you have viewed with just utter amazement? Have you ever felt elated when you found a bird's nest? Which is something that just happened to Alora, or a wildflower that you can photograph. Have you ever marveled at a photo that's in National Geographic? Have you marveled at a photo taken by a family member or a friend? In life, we have to reframe our thinking all the time. As a photographer, you have to choose the subject of that you want to be in your frame. You have to mark it out, sorry. So have you ever taken the time when you're taking a photo, before you push that shutter button, to really think about what the photo will look like? Have you thought about what story your photo will tell? Have you ever slowed down to take a photo? Have you ever fallen behind the rest of a crowd to the point where they're shouting at you, "Hello, caboose, come on, we're up here," but you just wanted to get that particular photo? Is there a lesson in slowing down? Have you ever knelt down in order to take a better photo of your subject? Did you ever see a photograph that you wanted to share with someone else because it was so inspiring or uplifting? The sunrise over the river, railroad tracks on a foggy dawn morning, a newborn baby, the goofy look on your puppy's face. Have you ever sent or posted a photo because you wanted to share it with others, the joy and the feeling of being uplifted from it? Have you ever longed for a way to say thank you to someone and realized maybe I could give them a picture? Did you ever photo document a vacation so you could share your experiences with others? Have you ever photographed your dinner plate because it was so sumptuous and delicious looking? Did you ever use a photo can help you be contemplative or meditative? And what comes to mind? Did you choose the lotus blossom, a rainbow, a waterfall, a snowflake, a cup of hot tea, or like you, like me, I take a photo of the cover of the good book that I'm reading? When you study a meaningful photo, can you view the world through the eyes of the divine? Can you see the extraordinary in the very ordinary? Has viewing photographs helped you fall more in love with the creation? Have you ever made a simple walk into a great big adventure just because you're taking your camera around the block with you? Have you ever thought that what you're doing right now is enough? Do you believe that with no photographic training at all, you could almost be called a mystic? Do you want to be a seeker? Do you want to discover? Has photography helped you do that? How? How has looking at a photograph that was shared with you by others given you a glimpse into what inspires and drives that person? Like, why did my friend Tom just post 17 pictures of his kayak trip? Has a photograph ever called you to action? How has seeing a photo of injustice helped you to start visioning yourself, trying to be part of that solution? Have you ever experienced tremendous compassion when looking at a photograph? Have you ever cried for mercy? And I actually wrote that, so what a beautiful thing, what beautiful serendipity that we just talked about mercy now. Has a photograph ever made you cry for mercy because of what you're looking at in that photo? Have you ever stopped to caption one of your own photographs? Did it make you feel clever or humorous? Did you think your words added to the photo? Would words alone have expressed it without the photograph? If I captioned a picture of a solitary tree in a farm field, if I captioned it standing sentry, would that be a new way for you to look at that tree as something noble, keeping guard at the farmland? What if I took a picture of nature and captioned it, artist, God? Do you think it's possible that photos can stretch your imagination? What do you think about when you're staring lovingly into a photo of someone that you love? And do you think you can only take a spiritual photo by taking religious photos, like stained glass windows, or monks praying, the inside of a sanctuary or a temple? Or can you take a picture that's spiritually motivating of an unusual cloud, or a photo of the trailhead that you're going to take? Can taking a photo help the photographer see things in new ways? Do you think a photographer is only trying to get noticed by other people? Or could you believe that a photographer is trying to help tell the story of other people? Did you almost ever feel some kind of energy running through a photo to you? Does this world entertain you? Can photography be a way to express our artistic natures? Could a photographer potentially see something mysterious in the tiny world of macro photography? Are you an outliner or a detailer? So outliners look at the whole big general focus. Detailers look at the little details. What do you see? Did you ever want your garden to last through the whole summer? This part reminds me of Janet Fry. And she decided the best way to do it was to photograph it. I suggest being her Facebook friend. And before you recycled your children's artwork, have you ever photographed it? And are photographs some of the most precious keepsakes that we own? Okay, test over. Did I get your mind working? That was a lot of questions. I just wanted to help you start thinking about the ways that photography and actually all visual arts can help build a strong connection between you and the world and bolster your spiritual nature. So, from your unspoken thoughts, right here, your answers, in my teaser that I have to write about what I would talk about, I wrote that photographs help us meditate on mysteries. And so probably your own answers would affirm that. And when writing my description of this talk that would be used on our website, I said, is it just a snapshot or could it be a path to a deeper vision? And I think we might be arriving at the same answer, yes. So now I'm going to share some of the observations that I've made as an amateur photographer and just go through those kind of quickly too. People often say, beauty is in the eye of the beholder. Guess what? You are the beholder. Yeah. That's observation one. And as the beholder, that just empowers us to see more beauty everywhere. I'm a planner. I'm so much a planner that I make assignments for myself every day. But photography has helped me learn that I don't always have to plan, that I could have surprises. I'm learning that each moment is unrepeatable. That kind of chokes me up in some ways because of some things happening in my life. Each moment is unrepeatable. But I've learned that the world is full of magical things, and I have learned from photography to just stop and say, oh yeah, right out loud, right there when I'm seeing the sun come up over the mighty Huron River. And I honor that the vision is mine when I take a photo. It's not my sister's, it's not my friend's, it's my vision. And so when people look at my photographs, they'll see my vision. That's pretty humbling. The most humbling thoughts came to me one day, which is that in all things of nature and in everything I photograph, there is definitely something of me. I've learned to see things with fresh eyes. One of my assignments one day was to find a rose and pretend it was the first time I had ever seen one. So there I was out in my garden, examining it, preparing to take a photo of it. And so what that's doing, I believe, is a way to just be more curious. One of the ways that I find photography is meditative is because I pause to let quiet reflections go through me. It's a way to start paying attention to the moment of now. And I believe that sharing our photos is a way that we can be generous with other people. I think photography has helped me understand that the little things are not little. Yeah, the little things are not little. We ask people to smile for the photo, and I think that's because we all profit from those smiles. They're actually a type of peace offering. Where's Craig Harvey with his peace generator? Yes, those smiles are a peace offering. Sometimes my photos are bad. Ooh, and if you're a perfectionist like me, that could be really troubling until you start to think about, is there something this photo's trying to teach me? And it's like, oh, yeah, that I can actually laugh. Because if you take a selfie by mistake while you're holding the camera down here, ooh, that's a bad view. And you'll just start belly laughing at that selfie. And the moment that your dog's nose, ends up on the end of the camera lens, I mean, I have a few of those. That's going to make you laugh, folks. And One of the worst photos I took is also one of the most precious to me. I look at it from time to time. It was taken at Mathai Botanical Gardens. I was bending down to take a picture of something I saw on the path when my friend Heidi Thornblade grabbed my shirt and gave me a yank, and my photo turned out to be just a picture, kind of smeared motion picture of some dirt in my foot moving out of the way. But what she was protecting me from is, I guess, what I was taking a picture of is something called a Massasauga rattler. So photography can be healing, and healing to our egos, and healing to our tenderness, healing to our broken child. With photography, one of the things that I do, I heard this, I read this in a magazine, I get all kinds of knowledge from magazines, is to put a picture of yourself as a child on the magnet on your refrigerator and say, you are so worthy. Look at how adorable you are. And to still see that now in yourself, and to use photographs that way, I think, is a beautiful thing. Photography has made me ask a million questions, and it has given me, an answer to an outlet to creativity. And on that subject, one that I've talked about with my students in the past, creativity, when people say they are not creative, creativity is not a lottery that somebody else won. Let me tell you, creativity is something that we all have. I believe that. You can argue with me, but that's pretty entrenched in me. I've learned from photos that the past cannot be different. Yeah, the past cannot be different, but we can find acceptance and we can move on. And that wherever we are right now is our entry point. That's the entry point for today, now. My photographs, I call them moments of dream and discovery. Oh, now that you'll maybe be happy to hear this part. Part 5 in my outline, the end of the talk. But I'm an English major, so I still have a little bit. Every picture tells a story. I hope that the questions that I asked you today and some of my conclusions about photography have helped you want to tell more stories, however that comes out for you. I hope it makes you want to breathe in life with reverence. Some people tell me, well, no, I honor that there's so much joy in my life that's come from the visual arts, from studying paintings and illustrations and, yes, photographs. In fact, I have experienced so much joy from art that I feel it's worth a party, a joy party. And I told Bob I was going to bring him into my talk because I am so excited about the party that was his brainchild for this center for the 25th anniversary. Yeah, photography's made me want to party. And the thing about joy is that joy comes with all these surprise efforts too, surprise things. So I believe that in looking at photos, sharing photos, and taking photos are actually all kind of on our path to love. They're a way to stop and rest. They're a reminder to be curious and to, if we can see it, the divine. When I'm actively looking and noticing things along the path, I become more receptive to each moment. Some things in life are really mundane. I mean, I'm talking chopping carrots, right? Chopping onions. But I'll tell you what, take a picture of it. It's fun because you'll see that there is a kind of a sacred beauty in the picture of your cutting board with the chopped up carrot. When you look at a photo or you take a photo, I encourage you to practice this in gratitude. This part I got from my friend Rob Fagerlund. Once you take that picture, even if it's just a mind picture, you might want to mouth the words, what you took a picture of. You might want to mouth the words, thank you. And you might want to bless that tree at Mathi Botanical Gardens with the incredible bark and burls. They say a picture is worth 1,000 words. I think it's worth more. And so it is.